Good evening, everyone, and welcome as we join you right here on Daily Mirror for a very special edition on Date with Danu. Well, these are those ones that we do from our homes where we speak to some great people who have done some great work, and this continues even during our non-lockdown times. I'm happy to have a super personality on the show today. I'm so proud of what she has achieved in life and especially creating a milestone for us to all be proud about. So big thank you to all those who make our Date with Danu editions very much possible, with our friends who are with us from all our sponsors, from Movenpick Hotel to Vikramanatchi Opticians, Quantum to Jonathan Studios, Manning, Checks, and so much more. Right with me on the show, I have the very well-known Dee Williams today. She's making big waves internationally, and I'm so happy to have her. Good evening.
Good evening, Danu. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and congratulations on all the waves that you have made.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me too.
I'm so happy to have you, and also if for those who have not, if they have missed out, Daily Mirror printed her Buzz with Danu edition with her. You could read all about her work so far on it as well, which was yesterday on our print. So I'm going to call you Dee. Is that how you are known?
Yes, you can call me Dee. That's fine.
All right. So tell me about you. When did you ship yourself off to Australia?
That was 2007. So it's been like nearly 13, 14 years now. So
Yeah.
I came to Australia to do hospitality management and
Right.
finished with my studies, and then started watching Masterchef, and then that's how I went on Masterchef, like to compete.
Brilliant. So now, you know, everyone, we all see what's on TV. We all see that
Yes.
day where you all come and make that badi bidi curry and or whatever dish you are given like such a short time, and we are just biting our nails thinking that is the start to all of this. But I'm sure there
Yes.
are thousands and thousands that apply. In that case, we'll never get to the season because we'll be just watching the preliminary.
Yes.
But what is the process to get into MasterChef? I'm sure you are not cooking directly in front of the judges first.
No, so it's there's a couple of rounds that you go through. So roughly about 7 or 8 rounds. So
Wow.
the first audition is you pretty much have to cook something from a mystery box. So
Okay.
the ingredients, yeah, they will provide. It's pretty easy, but at the same time, you're pretty nervous as well because you don't know the environment and it's all new to you, and it's nerve-wracking. Anything could go wrong because
Yeah.
even if you light the gas cooktop on, sometimes it doesn't light because you're under
Yeah.
so much pressure. You got to
Pressure, yeah.
impress. Yeah, exactly.
And
And
what was the first
sometimes
thing that you cooked?
the first one was a chicken curry. So I applied twice. So
Oh, okay.
applied in 2018,
Mm.
which I didn't get a chance. And then 2019, I did cook. The first dish was the chicken, I believe. I think, yeah, chicken. And then
Okay.
from there, I did the watlapang, which is, I did it like differently because obviously
Right.
we can't make it in the same way that we make. It needs to be
Right.
refined and things like that. So that was my second dish. And then you have to go through a couple of personality tests and things like that. And also like that 24 need to sort of like they had to bring in different backgrounds and all sorts of stuff goes into the show. So there's thousands and thousands of people apply, and only the 24 will get to go on the show.
Yeah. And that's a great thing to have you present something that we eat at home. You know, what we will, it's a very Sri Lankan thing, you know, the pole sambola and the whole works. Tell me this
Yeah.
line that you decided to choose, hospitality, and then
Yeah.
eventually getting into becoming a chef or someone who loves to cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was it when you were growing up? Were you always someone who enjoyed it?
When I was growing up, I was in boarding school, so I studied in Kandy. So I was there for about 12 years. So
All right.
growing up was really tough in boarding school, as you can imagine in Sri Lanka. Like, you know, it's really hard. You can't even like wear any makeups. You can't do eyebrows. It's really tough regulations, and you get to go
What
out.
school were you in Candy? What
I
school were
was
you
in
in?
Mowbray College. Mowbray
Okay.
College.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really tough. And every time when I go home, that's when I started learning how to cook from my mom and grandma. So my
Right.
mom is like really passionate about herself, like cooking. So she watches like different shows those days and write down the recipes, and she started cooking. But then
Mm.
growing up in Sri Lanka at that time, I don't think there was like a lot in offer. Like now, if you go to Sri
Yeah.
Lanka, you get so much different variety of food in there. But
Yeah.
when I was growing up, you didn't have that luxury. So when I came to Australia, that opened up like a different world, like, you know, the Italian and French and all those kind of stuff. At the same time, you do learn a lot of stuff from YouTube and watching different cooking shows and things like that. So I think that's really amazing in that way. And last year when I went to Sri Lanka and did a little bit of work with Jetwing and everything, and I saw like the people had come out like totally different what it used to be, and
Of
they're
course.
more on the food and like blogging about food and writing about food, and like even like if you go to different restaurants, you do have variety of cuisine to choose from.
Yeah. And that's amazing. Actually, now it's not about just eating. People want an experience when they eat. They want to
Exactly.
have kind of like something to go back. And so
Ooh,
that's
absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
So your life in Aussie might have not been easy at the start. Like, let's go 13 years back. How was it?
Yeah. It was really tough. I remember I used to like sit down and cry sometimes because when I came here, I was like probably about 24, 25. So
Right.
coming here and then doing studies full time, and you got to work part time, and especially when it comes to winter, and I didn't have my driver's license either. So like I had to travel on public transport. It's really tough. Like you got to go through so much, and you
Mm.
can't even go back to Sri Lanka, as you can imagine. Like, you know, you spend so much money to come here to finish the studies, and you can't just give up and go. So I went through like really tough time, probably about 3 to 4 years, like studying and working and constantly, because you can't quit classes. You have to go. As an international student, you have to be in classes as well. So it's really tough. You need to have attendance. You need to pass the exams and everything. So it was really, really tough. So I had to work like sometimes 12 hours. So I was doing like housekeeping and food and beverage. So, but like think like, you know, that was the sacrifice I made, I think. And now I see myself thinking like all of those days, because you need to have that grounding, because otherwise if everything comes easier, and
Yeah.
you go, okay, I'll take it for granted.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, especially as a girl, you know, who when you have your Sri Lankan upbringing, we always, you know, have that touch of. But because you had your boarding upbringing as well, I'm sure it would have been a little
Yeah,
bit more easier because you know self
yeah,
care would have been there.
exactly.
Um, how was it when your mum got to know about you getting into MasterChef and seeing you on screen?
It was really exciting for her, but then they didn't really understand the concept of like, you know, how it's going to be, because I explained to them it's a cooking show and everything like that. But in Sri Lanka, you don't have like a bigger cooking show. So because they were like used to so much watching those kind of stuff. So when I said MasterChef Australia, it was a big thing for them. But they, once they watched the show, only they realized it's like huge to even
Yeah,
get into the top 24. So she
definitely.
was really happy. Yeah.
Because I know a few friends who actually love cooking and they've taken their steps and gone so far and never made it, never cut off to the top 24. Getting into top
Yeah.
24 is like becoming like your title holder in your country before competing for Miss Universe, because it's that
Yeah.
hard to like
Yeah.
actually get there. um, you know, it's amazing that one day you wake up and today lots of people are reaching out to you and you're speaking
Yeah.
about your experience. How does this
Yeah.
feel? Do you feel the biggest support has been from Sri Lanka? Because, you know, I am always very proud of a Sri Lankan doing anything, anywhere.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, it always gives you that, you know, that wholesome feeling of knowing if, you know, he or she is one of us. And
Yeah,
it's lovely to
exactly.
have it. And, you know, I always reach out and I try and bring out more and more news about them.
Yeah, true.
How, and how has the feedback been? How many Sri Lankans have reached out to you? Have your candy girls spoken to you?
There's a huge lot of people because it's not only Sri Lanka, because if you take
I know.
UK, there's a lot of Sri Lankans there as well.
Yeah.
So because when the show went to air, because I didn't realize how they're going to present it, because there's a lot of editing and everything goes into the show as well. So you don't really know how it's going to come out of the television. So I was thinking, like, because I got kicked out as a second person, so I was thinking it's not going to be like huge, right? And then like you started getting all these text messages and the Facebook messages and people reaching out to see, like, how they were really supportive, and like they were really encouraging as well. Like, they said, like, if you get another chance, just go and compete, but you only get one chance. But it's not only Sri Lankan living in Sri Lanka, it's all around the world. Sri Lankans
Well,
living in all around the world, because they're sending so much messages. So I think to see that, it really give you that encouragement to push yourself even further.
yeah, and the first person who I got to meet who was a part of MasterChef was Kumar. Have
Yes.
you been able to catch up with him?
No, because I meant to catch up with him in March, but then because of the
COVID.
COVID-19, he couldn't
Yeah.
come to Melbourne. Yeah,
Right,
it's a
because he was
shame.
here in Sri Lanka and he did a bit of a
Yeah,
master class on his steak of food, and it was
yeah,
amazing and such an experience to have him here. What we see, like I have questions about MasterChef that I want to know. I know
yeah,
it's a lot of you have to keep your mobile phones away and so many things in
yeah.
doing a reality show. I always had this one doubt. They put you all and ask you all the experience, how it was for cooking that dish, and how was it? Did you think who was going to be eliminated? When does
Yeah.
that interview happen? Is it
That was
during the record?
no, it was it's after. So when you do
Okay.
the cooking, you just talk about your dish after.
Right, okay. So even the
Yeah,
experience,
so,
because sometimes we are left in suspense, like who is going to be the one who is being kicked out. But
yeah.
whereas y'all are talking about it, like, and sometimes that person who said, I really think she's gonna go, is the one who's going.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
after.
okay. These are like little doubts that I've had in my little brain that I wanted to say. You're getting some love from Italy. We have some people writing to us saying, about your curry. Now tell me,
Yeah,
this curry for us is just every day. Like, api
yeah,
singaling cute ang peka kanoa. But in
yeah,
Australia, big thing.
yeah,
Oh, it's a curry. It's fantastic.
yeah.
How did it? I still remember your post sambola. And what a good combo. When it rains in Sri Lanka, you need a real
I
buck with
know.
post.
It's
I know.
amazing.
Yes, they'll understand that.
Yeah,
Tell us,
yeah.
was it like, because they enjoyed it, they ate a lot of it. How was that feeling?
It was really good because to represent something what we eat every day in Sri Lanka, because you make so much different stuff, but then that's sort of like a humble dish, because the coconut sambal, it's really easy to make, and paripu, like it's everyday stuff that we eat, and roti and chicken curry. And I think they really enjoyed it because you can tell, like, the way they were eating and everything like that, because of the coconut, the lime, and the spices made a big difference. So they loved it.
Yeah. So now that you're a master chef, getting into 24 is a big thing. What are you planning on doing? Are you planning on doing a restaurant of your own? Are you planning on consulting for a few people? Are you planning on writing a book? Are you coming up with some Dee recipes?
Yes. So I do post a lot of recipes on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channel as well. I do have a YouTube channel which goes on to YouTube channel as well. And
Okay.
what I was doing last year was I did a little bit of work with Jetwing Hotels, and we did
Right.
like a little series about culinary and adventure, culinary and travel adventure of Sri Lanka. So that's
Okay.
pretty much showcasing all the authentic recipes that they make in each different areas, and to show that local food, how, because when you go to Colombo, you get like crab curry, but then when they make the Jaffna crab curry, it's totally different. So I love it. So those are the different things that we need to bring it out to show that Sri Lanka is about not only curry, but they got different dishes for the tourists to come in. So that's sort of like a mini series that will be planning to do it end of August.
Okay.
And the other show I was on was Supreme Chef, which will be
Okay.
airing this Sunday at, I think it's going on Shakti and Sirasa TV.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
that's pretty much is about, yeah, that's a really good one.
So
That was
you're
pretty
coming
much
to Sri
about,
Lanka again. You're coming in August, hopefully.
hopefully for the finale, fingers crossed, yeah, planning to come, hopefully. And that's about like, they've selected 4 different areas, and it's a Australian government initiative as well. So they've got skills for inclusive growth, and
Right.
also Australian aid involvement. And it's pretty much Batticaloa, Trincomalee, Ampara, and Polonnaruwa. So getting those contestants, and they're bringing out the show. At the same time, they're training them so that after the show, they could go back into their areas or different hotels in Colombo and work as cooks or chefs or whatever. So they're giving that training, which is amazing, because in Masterchef, we don't have that training at all, because we had to find our way out of it
True.
and do something about it. Yeah. But then coming there and doing that, and also mentoring the contestants, that was amazing, because for me, like, I was on MasterChef, giving that experience to someone was phenomenal. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I stayed in Batticaloa for about a month. I was like,
Oh, wow.
I want to go home, but now I really miss it.
Yeah. So Rosella Kitchen, that's of course, I think, Love to You from, I think she was an Italian contestant on MasterChef, who has written to you.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you even know she was following you? And Australia. So home now is Australia for you?
Yes, but I really wanted to do some work in Sri Lanka, like promoting tourism, and also like going into those areas, because last time when I was in Trincomalee and all those areas, you see a lot of potential. The young people really wanted to get into cooking as a chef or cooking shows and things like that. So I just wanted to help them if I really get a chance to help them, because they're really passionate about it. And if you really train them, and I think we will have a really good future in Sri Lanka, because you need to think not only Colombo, take that around Sri Lanka and promote that culture and the food. I think you will get more tourists coming to Sri Lanka.
Definitely. Tell me, what would you say to those who are watching about following your dream? You know, that's something that, you know, everyone wants to be. You know, we have, you know how Sri Lanka is. We always say, become a lawyer, become a doctor, become an accountant.
Yeah.
But, you know, options now are opening up. Parents are more open to seeing newer things. What would you tell?
True. I think the advice that I wanted to give them is like never to give up, because if I would have given up in 2018, because I was really upset, because I thought that I really had a chance to get in. And when I got said, like, you know, Dee, you're not selected, it's really heartbreaking, because you got to, from there, you have to bring yourself up and apply again. It's really tough. So pretty much I went through like probably 2 weeks. I was really upset about it. But then I thought, look, there's some reason that I didn't get in. And I don't know what reason that could be, but if I really apply again, I might have another chance. So it's like you either get into MasterChef, or if you really wanted to do something in life, I think you need to have that determination, and you have to really push yourself. And it's not going to be easy, because even like after MasterChef for a year without jobs and like finding out what I wanted to do, really tough, because once you're in the competition, you don't know when you get kicked out. It's all depends on, like, you know, when you get kicked out, and then because you got to give up your full-time job, and so you need to survive. So there's so many different things, and you think, okay, did I make the right decision? And so even like I took a punt and like, look, this is what it is, and now I wanted to start something because I've got so much support from people and they wanted to see you more. So you just need to think like, you know, I can come out of it, but it's really tough. But there's a way that you could find a way how you're going to come out of it. And sometimes even like we had to do a lot of work free of charge. We can't charge them like cooking demos, and because you got to put yourself out there because you already started your journey. And if you're not going to put yourself out there, it dies down. So I think the determination, the passion, you really need that. You need that drive to push yourself.
And you have to run with it because it's like you have taken the plunge and like gone there.
Exactly.
And now it's a matter of going ahead with it. What is your go-to thing? What do you like to cook the most? What is your feel-good food?
I think I love to make curry, like all the Sri Lankan dishes. But I find it, because you know that, you know, you just put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There's no measuring, nothing, because that's how you used to cook at home. But I think I find it more rewarding when I make desserts because it's really technical and you really need to have patience. And when you actually construct the dish, you go, oh my God, I could make something really interesting. And I think that's what I always go, something challenging, something that you really push yourself to see, okay, what if I do this, whether it's going to work? So those kind of dishes are more rewarding for me.
Okay. Now, Sanjay has written saying, I'm coming for your fish after quarantine is over. What is your fish? Tell me about this fish.
Okay, I've made a couple of fish curries, and yesterday I made a fish. I think that's probably what he's talking about. It was baked fish, and with all these Asian ingredients like sesame oil, oyster sauce, soy sauce, and coriander roots, and all of those, and mixed into a marinade. And they marinate the fish, and you grill it or bake it, and then you pour the hot oil on top of it. So sesame oil, and you infuse with garlic, a little bit of onions and chili, and then you pour it on the top. And then it's just like, it's amazing.
So want to be your neighbor. If I ever decide to move to Australia, I'm finding the house next to you. And because we Sri Lankans love to share, no? So we'll just be like,
I was the end.
I'm going to be one of those, Mama, I'm going to be one of those neighbors. Now, you know, that's another problem. Like, my sister cooks very well. So what happens is whenever something is happening, they're like, so what are you making? There's always that story. Do you feel people make use of your food or use of you trying to get your food? Does it always happen?
No.
You're just like, no, let me just say no now.
No. I'll send you a private message and say yes.
I know how it is. I'm telling you, I know. It's always a bit of a problem. It's amazing. You have some great plans to do with Sri Lanka and what you're planning on doing. So are you having dreams about having a restaurant one day?
Fingers crossed, hopefully. I think I've looked at a couple of options, but it is quite expensive to run, especially in Australia, the cost.
Yeah.
But if I can do something in Sri Lanka, that'll be really good. And currently what I'm doing is like partnering up with different restaurants and trying to do like every sort of like 2 months or 3 months, just pop-up dinners kind of stuff.
Like curated by you.
Exactly, yeah. So in that way, they get to taste a little bit of Sri Lanka in here.
Okay. So, well, I have to only say I'm very, very proud of all what you have done because it's remarkable. And I really want more and more news about you to come out for people to come to know who you are and what you have achieved. You know, this is as important as somebody going to represent us on the cricket field. Because anyone who takes us out there is equally important. I always say it, you know. So I think it's great that you have made this initiative. I know it's very late. It's 11:30 right there.
I think it's nearly 12.
Sorry. So what do you do now? What keeps you busy now?
Now I work part-time, 3 days a week. So I work as an office manager for a plumbing company because you really need to have another job as a backup. Because it's really tough.
Are you a star there? Do you like go with your hair flipping? Like, I was in master.
It's plumbers. What do you expect? They're not even in the office.
You should be like, I'm a chef. I don't know what I'm doing. But I know,
And
I know. Like,
and then I do. Pardon?
sorry, I was just saying life is hard, but it's all about fighting.
Yeah, I do.
And what do
Yeah,
you do?
exactly. And then I do a lot of live cooking at the moment
Okay.
because of the quarantine. You don't like do cooking demos and stuff, so do a lot of live cooking, and also do run a little bit of classes for the contestants in Sri Lanka on Zoom.
Okay.
And yeah, so that was really good, like, you know, teaching them different techniques and everything for the show. And also working on my spice range to see whether I can launch it after the COVID-19 and everything. And yeah, so then doing a lot of videos and things like that. So it's pretty much work 3 days and then the rest 4 days, yeah. And then cleaning, obviously.
Yeah. But amazing. I'm so proud. I'm so happy that you were able to join me today on Daily Mirror. It's always nice to reach out to you and to people who have done these amazing things. I can't wait to see and to any of your Sri Lankan friends.
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone who had joined us, and also to thank everyone who was supporting me and encouraging me throughout my journey as well. So it was really great. And a lot of people reached out asking for different recipes and things like that. That really shows they're really passionate about the Sri Lankan food. So that's really amazing to see. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Danu. It was really nice talking to you. And I had a great time, even though it's 12 o'clock. It's just having fun.
Amazing. Well, have yourself a great, great night. And thank you so very much. And all the very best. I wish you from the bottom of my heart for you to go far in life.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you in Sri Lanka.
Yes, and I'm going to wait for that fish. I'm going to see you with a raw fish that will transform into this fish.
I'll make
All
it.
right. Super.
All right.
Brilliant. Until I see you soon, you take care, okay?
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That's amazing. Having great people achieving superb things and lots of hard work. It's always nice to give some support and speak about them. Thank you so much for joining us today on Date with Danu. A quick session with someone who was in the top 24 in Masterchef Australia. Dee, until I see you with another cool episode on Date with Danu, with our quarantine, not so quarantine version. You have yourself a wonderful evening. Good night and God bless.